Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Husqvarna 460 chainsaw. Customer stated, just get it running again. We can do that. Let's take a look inside the fuel tank and see what he's been burning in here. The fuel filter, I can tell, is an older one because it's all white and it doesn't have an orange or blue cap on it. Fuel itself didn't look bad, and I didn't see any water in the bottom of the tank. I'm going to put 10 pounds on this fuel line, and it's holding 10 pounds of pressure. That tells me that the fuel line is good. No leaks in the carburetor. I'm just going to clean up the end of this line because that filter kind of left a memory on that line. The line itself didn't feel like it needed to be replaced, but that end was a little, the filter didn't fit in there too tight. There we go, we're topping it off. The little bit of stuff that was in there looked and smelled decent. Get this cap back on here. Next thing I'm going to do is look inside the cylinder. You know, sometimes you can just feel if there's an anti-vibe screw that's loose or something. Sometimes you hear a rattle. In this case, I think it was just that chain that's really loose flopping around in there that made me think that there was an anti-vibe problem. But look at the top of this cylinder. The top fin is smashed. The cylinder cover isn't smashed, but that fin has been pushed down. Really not going to affect the heat dispersion, I don't think. It is on the far side, farthest away from the cooling fan, but the whole fin is there, so it's going to radiate heat. And it's on the cool side of the cylinder, meaning it's away from the exhaust port. So I'm not going to think too much more about it. Let's look inside this cylinder, and we're looking for scores. And this is clean and shiny in here. Everything looks good. We're going to put a new properly gapped spark plug in here. When someone says just get it running again, that's pretty much permission to do a full tune-up and maybe a carb rebuild. What you don't see in these videos often is the bar and chain maintenance or even the sprocket or rim drive maintenance. I pretty much concentrate just on the engine part in these videos. Let's see if this thing actually runs or not. I guess technically it ran, but we can't quite send it, can we? Fuel filter and a spark plug didn't fix it. It's just what most homeowners try to do, though. Sometimes they might even get an air filter. I'm going to get this bar and chain off of here using the little ugga-dugga gun. Pop the clutch cover off. Everything looks normal here. And the bar and chain is coming off. And I'm not really doing this because it's in my way. The guy needs the chain sharpened, so it's got to come off anyway. Might as well get it off now, so it's not in my way. Alright, next thing I want to do, I want to take this chain catch off of here. It was damaged, and we want to replace it. The saws leave the shop ready to cut wood. And that means that all safety items are in place as well. I mean, sure, they're going to get a tank of fuel and a tank of oil. But things like the chain catch, you know, I got to look at this brake handle here. These three raised areas, they can wear out when they skip over the top of the metal piece that they engage in. And they can only skip out of there if you put the clutch cover on wrong, but it seems to happen a lot. So I like to look at that and make sure that there's not going to be any compromise with the ability of that brake lever to work. And I said I wasn't going to give that cylinder fin another thought, but I'm sure I'm thinking about it here. It just bothers me. How did it happen? He must have replaced the top cover. Maybe there was a lot of repair done to this. You know, maybe the whole front handle and spark plug and who knows what else was replaced because a limb fell on it maybe. Just speculating. Well, I know that's good fuel because most of it's mine, but if there was water in that tank, I would have been able to see it in the bottom of the funnel. We got to wipe that fuel up a little bit, made a mess. All right. I want the carburetor. So there's 4 screws that hold it on that run through this black plastic air filter base. I was just taking a look there. This is a 2008 model. Don't know if I'm the first one in the carburetor or not, but if I am, it's certainly due. A couple of rubber saddles that air filter base sits in. Looks like I thought about releasing them, but I'm going to do the throttle linkage first. I had to release that blue clip in order to get the linkage, the throttle linkage, out of the carburetor linkage. Now I can release that saddle. And there's one on the other side as well. And then there's 2 screws in the bottom of the air filter base. That one kind of wants to come out, but not really. This one comes out. So I know it's unthreaded from what it screws into. It's just threads are catching on the rest of it, the carburetor and the base. So we'll let them catch and we'll back that screw out. Now we can swing the base out of the way. Got to get that choke lever off of there though. It just pops off. It's a press fit. Off comes the fuel line that goes from the short stem of the purge bulb to the carburetor. And off comes the fuel line that comes from the tank with the filter on it. We have harvested a carburetor. Let's get that out of our way. Grab our handy dandy carb stand. Blow some schmutz off the carburetor. And me. Alright, let's dig into it. I mean, it looks pretty normal. Doesn't look like anyone's been messing with it. The only way you can really tell is if the screw heads are banged up. This is the fuel pump cover. And the micro screen is located in here. And it looks fine, so that's not the reason we had that poor running. So let's take the metering diaphragm cover off the carburetor. 4 screws holding it in place. Kind of had to magnetize my screwdriver there a little bit. Alright. What are we doing? Get that cover off of there. Let's go! There's our metering diaphragm, and it is just stiff enough that I suspect that was our whole problem. So we're going to put a new carb kit in here. And really, I think this is going to be, is this the whole kit? Oh yeah, look at that. By golly. The single screw that holds the metering lever in place, we're loosening that up so that I can remove the lever and the needle. We're going to try and use the pliers to do it. Lift the needle out. And where's our new needle? Loading the new needle on the new metering lever with the new cross shaft. I got to do this a certain way, otherwise it just doesn't work for me. The spring is in place. I'm just dropping that assembly on top of the spring. And sliding the cross shaft over underneath the screw. Just like that. There we go. And then we'll tighten the screw down. Those pieces are really small. They get fumbly. But the metering lever looks like it's working properly. We'll torque that down. And now I want to check the metering lever height. On this carburetor, that metering lever should be the same height as the sides of the carburetor. And it needed a little tweak. It was a little low. Just touching. Alright, here is our gasket and our metering diaphragm. And then we'll put our cover on here. Four screws holding it in place. Look at him go. Alright. I guess I got interrupted or lost the footage or whatever. I don't know. Must have had a hole in my pocket and the footage fell out or something. Because I didn't show you putting the fuel pump on. Basically, we just lay the fuel pump gasket down, then its gasket and the cover, and a single screw to hold that in place. Same way we took it apart. Alright, I'm going to put the fuel line from the tank that has the filter on it onto the carburetor. I mean, there's a fuel line fitting on each side of this carburetor, and if you have the carburetor oriented the proper way in the saw, you can't really mix up which line goes on which fitting. Just getting things lined up here. We'll get this air box moved over. I'm just trying to get the wires tucked underneath right now. They got to go underneath the carb adjustment screws. Gonna get a scrunch in here and snap that choke lever into place on the carburetor linkage. And then we're gonna start running some screws in. Four of them. And, you know, they're going into plastic here. So if you don't have a clutch on your driver, you might not want to use it. You might, I don't know, unless you got a really good touch. But I had drivers that didn't have clutches on them and stripped a lot of screws using them. So we've bolted the carburetor in place. Now I want to put the throttle linkage on. And the first thing I have to do is put that plastic nub end of the linkage into the handle where the trigger is going to push on it. And then there's a dust boot that I'm kind of dropping into place. Now the linkage is going to sit in a little groove on the carburetor linkage. And then this blue lever gets moved into place. So here we're putting the rod on the carburetor linkage right about, well, let's go. There, it's on there. Now that blue piece, that's not latching on there very well at all. And I know right now that it's not going to work. And I'm going to have to change it. But I also know I want to listen to this thing run, right? So I'm kind of ignoring the fact that I have to fix that. It's not going to prime unless there's fuel in it, and there isn't fuel in it. That funnel works really well for transferring fuel in and out of that saw. If you need a funnel like that, they're called radiator fill funnels. Now it's priming up. Let's see what it sounds like. Alright, I'm struggling with that boot between the carburetor and the hole in the side of the case where I run the adjustment screwdriver through. It's just not in place. And now, as is suspected, that blue piece failed. It's pretty common for this piece to fail. A lot of times, if you're not careful when you unlatch it, you can kind of strip this little locking nub that's on it. And I'll give you a closer look of that. So I put the linkage back in there, but I had to remove the whole piece. And I don't have a new one right now, but what I do have is a couple of 5-gallon buckets of carburetors. So we should probably be able to find a nub or a blue plastic piece in there with a good nub on it. And this is what I'm talking about right here. That one's kind of shaved off. And this one's still got some mass to it. So it will lock in place. So we'll put this used one on here. And it's pretty simple. It just fits into the side of the linkage, and then you don't want to snap it down into place. You kind of want to lift it and move it into place and then let it relax back down. That one should hold. So I'll fire this thing back up here and see how it runs and maybe make some carb adjustments. And if it runs decent, then that's all I have for you on the Husqvarna 460 chainsaw. It had a stiff metering diaphragm. Thanks for watching. Later.